Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're doing something a little different.
We are.
Normally, we take a pile of research, a few articles, and we try to unpack a topic for you. We aim for that dinner party intelligence.
Right. But today is different. This is a rehearsal simulation. We're not just exploring a topic abstractly. We're actively prepping you, the listener, for a very specific high-stakes event.
A presentation to a private equity and institutional audience. The whole point of this session is to get the logic, this management by controls idea, out of your head and, well, into your muscle memory.
Exactly.
We've got the rehearsal notes here, the slide deck outline, the whole closed loop system description. We're going to walk through it piece by piece. But before we even get to the content, we have to talk about tone, the vibe.
This is absolutely crucial for this audience. The tone you need is controlled. It's institutional. It has to be measured.
So no high-energy motivational speaker stuff?
Oh, you'd lose them instantly. They're allergic to hype. They want calm authority. They just need to know that the hands on the wheel are steady.
Less TED Talk, more. A safe pilot landing a plane in a crosswind.
That's it, exactly. A little slower than conversational. Deliberate. You're not selling them a dream. You're selling predictability. You're selling the absence of surprise.
The absence of surprise. I like that. Okay, let's dive in. The structure starts with framing the core problem. And the problem isn't what you'd think. It's not some catastrophic failure. The source material calls it drift.
And this is the entire foundation of the argument. You have to land this first. The enemy isn't the explosion. It's the slow, quiet movement away from what you intended to do.
It's the silent killer.
It is. Which brings us to our very first anchor phrase. These are the lines you need to burn into your memory. They anchor the whole slide.
Okay, here it is.
Most businesses don't fail. They drift.
I want you to actually pause right now. If you can, hit pause on this. Say that phrase out loud. Feel how it lands.
Let's say it again. Most businesses don't fail. They drift.
So let's define that, because drift can sound a bit vague, like people are just being lazy.
It's more technical than that. It's movement away from intent before failure actually shows up on a report. It's what happens when you have a strategy, a piece of advice, but no operating infrastructure to enforce it.
It's a ship being 1 degree off course. In the harbor, who cares?
Right.
But across an ocean, that 1 degree means you miss the entire continent. And that's what investors are terrified of.
Exactly. By the time the P&L shows a problem, the drift started 6 months ago. So you set the hook. Now let's move on. We're diagnosing why roll-ups fail. This is slides 3 and 4.
A classic PE strategy. Buy a bunch of smaller companies, roll them into one big one, but they so often go wrong. Why?
And your tone here needs to be diagnostic, not critical. You're not blaming anyone. You're stating facts. Roll-ups do not fail from a lack of capital.
They're usually flush with cash.
And it's not because the people are dumb or the market suddenly changed. The real killer, it's execution inconsistency.
Execution inconsistency.
It's the complexity. You buy 5 companies, and they all have different ways of doing things, different review cycles, different rules for discounting. It's death by 1,000 small variations.
So the complexity just breaks the model.
It breaks the model. And that brings us to the second anchor phrase, because it explains why that inconsistency is inevitable if you lead a certain way.
Here it is.
Narrative does not scale.
Let's unpack that. What do we mean by narrative?
When a company is small, the founder can run it on personality, on stories, on hero culture. They're in every meeting. They approve every deal. That's narrative management. But as you add those 5 new companies, the story breaks. You can't be in every room at once.
So I want you to internalize that. Just take a second.
Narrative does not scale.
And remember, you're presenting this as a diagnosis, not a criticism. You're showing them you understand the physical limits of personality-driven leadership.
Which perfectly sets up the solution. If narrative fails, what do you replace it with?
We're on to slide 5, the shift to an operating role.
This is the pivot.
Yeah.
We're going from advisory, just giving suggestions, to enforced control. We're talking about governance, but not as a quarterly board meeting.
Not governance as a document.
No, governance as an active daily machine. It has to be owned, it has to be enforced, and it has to be able to intervene early.
It's the guardrail on the road, not the speed limit sign.
Perfect analogy.
Oh?
One is a suggestion, the other physically keeps you on the road. And that gives us anchor phrase number 3.
Listen to this one. It only works if it's operated.
You can't just buy a fancy piece of software and walk away. A tool on a shelf does nothing. Somebody has to be responsible for turning the handle every single day.
Pause here. Say that again?
It only works if it's operated.
Okay. So we've set the stage. We've got the problem, which is drift, and the cause, which is narrative. Now we need to slow down. The next section, slides 6 to 11, is the closed loop.
This is the logical core of the entire presentation. You rush this, you lose the audience, you have to walk them through this step by step. This is the how.
And step 1 on slide 7 is clean data.
It sounds so basic, doesn't it? But it's everything. It have to be non-negotiable. One source of truth. No debate about whose numbers are right.
Why is that the absolute starting point?
Because if you can't agree on the facts, everything that follows is just opinion. It's just politics. The whole system is built on this foundation.
Which gives us our fourth anchor phrase. This one really speaks to an institutional audience.
If it's not visible, it's not manageable.
That's the golden rule right there. If you can't see it, you can't steer it. Pause. Say that one again.
If it's not visible, it's not manageable.
So we have clean data. The arguments stop. What's next? That lets us move to step 2, drift detection. Slide 8.
And this ties right back to our core problem. We're not looking for failure. We're looking for drift. So we establish critical data points, CDPs. These are not your standard P&L lines.
So it's not net profit.
No, net profit is the result. That's the postmortem. We want the inputs, the early signals.
Give me an example.
Things like client conversion rates or team capacity load. If your capacity drops 5% this week, it won't show up in the profit for a month. But the drift has already begun.
So you're spotting the small things before they become big things.
Exactly. Which flows into step 3, the management pack on slide 9. How do we make sense of all this data without getting overwhelmed?
Right, you can't just drop a 100-line spreadsheet on the board.
You frame it with a RAG status: red, amber, green. It's simple, but it's powerful because it forces focus. Green is okay, continue. Amber means there's drift. Red means there's a breach.
So you ignore the greens.
You ignore the green. We don't need a presentation on what's going well. We spend all our time on the amber and the red, which is step 4, exceptions and resolution.
Slides 10 and 11. This is where the system has teeth.
This is management by exception. If a metric is amber or red, it automatically triggers a resolution.
And a resolution isn't just a conversation. It's not, hey, I'll try harder.
No, that's narrative again. A resolution is a formal process. Someone is assigned ownership. There's a root cause analysis. There is a remediation timeline. The source calls this the control spine. It removes what they call silent tolerance.
Silent tolerance, that's powerful. The ability to just quietly let things slide.
The system makes that impossible. It forces the hard conversation.
And then to close the loop.
You go back to step 1. You remeasure. Did the fix actually work? Did the data change? If not, you go back into the resolution process. It's a perpetual cycle.
It's a machine for governance.
It's a rhythm. So you've explained the machine. Now, slide 12, you have to explain who runs it. Why does the back of house, the BOH, hold this mandate?
Why not the local manager or the sales lead?
Because someone has to be neutral. Someone has to sit across the whole portfolio. BOH doesn't advise, they enforce. They make sure the system is not optional.
So they're not consultants.
Absolutely not. A consultant writes a report and leaves. They say you should probably exercise more. BOH is the personal trainer who makes sure you actually do the reps. They operate the loop.
Which brings us to the value proposition. Slide 15. Why should an investor pay for this BOH layer? Why do they care?
Because it lowers risk. And in their world, lowering risk increases value. It reduces integration risk, information risk, earnings volatility.
And volatility is the great enemy of a PE fund.
Which is why the 5th anchor phrase speaks directly to their wallet.
Risk removed is value created.
Consistency earns a higher multiple. It's that simple. By removing the risk of drift, you have created tangible financial value.
Pause here. Visualize presenting that slide. Look them in the eye and say it.
Risk removed is value created.
It's so fundamental. A boring, predictable company that hits its numbers is worth more than an exciting, unpredictable one.
Infinitely more.
All right, we're near the end. Slide 16, the closing argument, the final principle.
This is where you summarize the entire philosophy. You're telling them you are taking the randomness of human personality out of the management equation.
You're not relying on a charismatic hero to save the day.
No, you are relying on the system. And that is the final, most important anchor phrase.
Okay, here it is.
The mechanism is the manager.
This is the core idea. The system itself is what drives the management decisions, not a person's opinion or charisma. Pause. Really internalize this one.
The mechanism is the manager.
What does that mean in practice? For the people on the ground.
It means authority comes from the data, not from the boss.
Yeah.
It's not, I think you're doing a bad job. It's the mechanism shows we are in breach of the agreed parameters. It depersonalizes everything.
It shifts the entire dynamic from argument to resolution.
It does. It's objective.
Okay, let's stick the landing. The ownership close.
The tone here is absolute. Calm. You are stating a law, not an opinion. The system must be owned. Because if it is not owned, it becomes optional.
And we all know what happens to optional systems.
They fail under pressure every single time. When things get tough, people revert to habit unless a system is mandatory.
So let's do a quick lightning round. The mental checklist for you before you walk in that room. 6 key ideas.
First, drift. Not failure drift.
Second, narrative.
It doesn't scale. Third, operated.
It only works if you work it.
Fourth, visible and manageable.
Clean data is everything.
Fifth, risk and value.
And finally, 6th, mechanism.
The system is the boss.
Those are your beats. Hit those points with that calm, controlled tone, and you're not just presenting slides, you're demonstrating that you are the safe pair of hands.
And don't be afraid of the silence. When you deliver one of those anchor lines, just let it hang in the air for a beat.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought from our expert to chew on while you prepare.
If the mechanism is the manager, then leadership fundamentally changes. Your job is no longer to police people. Your job is to design the constraints. So the question is, are you ready to stop managing people and start managing the mechanism?
Good luck with the rehearsal. You've got this.
Keep it calm. Keep it measured.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.